Our text line is up and running for you at 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. That's how you make your voice heard here on The Voice of Virginia. So, those of you just waking up, it's 7:04 this morning here on News Radio WRVA. Here's the latest of what's been going on. The big story that's going to dominate the headlines is Louise Lucas, one of the top power brokers of the Democratic Party, the woman who has been holding up the state on the budget, demanding that we cease having the tax credits for data centers, and that's held up the budget that Abigail Spanberger and Don Scott can't get passed. She's also the person that spearheaded the gerrymandering efforts here in the Commonwealth of Virginia that are now caught up in the Supreme Court. She is a very powerful figure in Hampton Roads. Her offices were raided yesterday, about the time we got off the air. Here's what it sounded like as the news broke. Alex Hogan reporting, I think this is Harris Faulkner throwing to Alex Hogan, who was on the ground as the feds raid her offices. Take a listen.
Searching the office of a Democrat in the Virginia State Senate, Louise Lucas. That's according to Fox News, citing federal law enforcement sources. She is a party leader who was instrumental in the Virginia redistricting effort. MS Now senior investigative reporter Carol Lenig is following this. Carol, what have you learned about this investigation?
So Louise Lucas is a fairly prominent legislator in her state, but not known nationally. And the FBI and the Department of Justice have been investigating her for several years, 3 years, I'm told by a source familiar with the probe. And that investigation has been looking at evidence suggesting that she solicited or accepted bribes.
Sorry, different soundbite, but that's what it sounded like on MS Now. And again, that's not an ally of Donald Trump. MS Now saying, listen, this has been going on for the last 3 years. She's under investigation. They're looking into bribery charges against Louise Lucas. That's MS Now. That is not any friend of the administration. Alex Hogan was on the ground in Portsmouth when they raided her offices. They threw to them all day long. All the television stations were camped out there. They even found footage at a gas station as the FBI came in with one tactical truck, like more of a big armored SUV, and then all the Suburbans that came in, 40 some odd FBI agents, raided her office, raided the cannabis shop that she had next to her office. Several men were let out in handcuffs. All the employees were told to leave until they were cleared to come back. And the FBI investigators were there for quite a while as they were going through everything at Lucas's place of work, place of business, her office, and then the cannabis shop that she's the co-owner of. Her daughter shows up and says, I have no idea what's going on. She shows up. She drives around the parking lot a few times before getting out and says, I have no idea what's going on. Later, she issues a statement saying, this is all lawfare. This is Donald Trump coming after me, and I will not back down. So here's what we know. The FBI's investigation, as MS Now reported, has been going on for several years. This is not, I repeat, not lawfare by Donald Trump. If that was the case, then he would have had to get back in a Wayback Machine or the DeLorean to go back in time and convince Merrick Garland and Joe Biden's administration to allow this investigation to begin. You see the Hampton Roads political machine circling the wagons, Jay Jones and the rest saying, oh, this is all Donald Trump. This is all Donald Trump. Now, here's what I want to point out to you. A very powerful Virginia Democrat got raided by the FBI. And within minutes, the narrative comes out, oh, here we go. Trump is targeting his enemies. They had no facts. They had no evidence, just instant political defense. There's a playbook. Deny, deny, deny. Then you start attacking the people that are coming after you. But the problem with that narrative is it's pretty simple. Investigation already started under Joe Biden. Just days before her raid, one of her business partners were indicted on federal fraud charges. This wasn't created overnight because she ran afoul of the Trump administration. This started under Joe Biden. That's the part that's getting all buried in this. So what is really going on right now? Well, the one thing I'm going to point out is this is a really bad day for Abigail Spanberger. Let's walk through this for you. We kind of told you that this is a big problem for the Democrats, and as the feds raid a prominent Democrat's office, everybody's going to do what they do. And while this is going to land on Louise Lucas, this is going to cost Abigail Spanberger quite a bit as well. Not because of what is connected to Louise Lucas. Let's be honest. National media, a lot of them are getting wrong the fact that these two were not political allies. They're not political allies. There's three portions of the Democratic Party in Virginia. There's the Northern Virginia crew. That's the Loudoun County, Fairfax, all the crazy stuff comes out of there. There's the liberals of Richmond. Ghazala Hashmi, Abigail Spanberger comes out of that portion of the Democratic Party. Then there's the Hampton Roads machine. That's Don Scott, Louise Lucas, and their portion. All three make up a coalition that makes up a very powerful Democratic Party here in the Commonwealth of Virginia that control all three parts of our government. The General Assembly, the House and the Senate, both controlled by the Democrats, and the governor's office now in the hands of the Democrat. They are very, very powerful. All three of those make up a really, really, really big, powerful Democratic machine. And all three of them have to stand in lockstep in order for that machine to continue to keep going. But here's what's going on right now. One of the portions of that machine now has a flat tire, and the rest are going to need to come and rally around her if the Democratic Party and all their power is going to survive. So Louise Lucas, like I said, feds come after you, that'll change your life. But the person that stands to lose the most in all of this is Abigail Spanberger. Follow me here. Because when the political storm hits your party, you're expected to act in a certain way. You see this with the Republicans, you see this with the Democrats. You defend your own until you can't. And right now is Bobby Scott and Jay Jones and Don Scott and all the rest are defending Louise Lucas. There's one person that's been very, very quiet. Take a listen to the comments of our governor, Abigail Spanberger.
I want to talk to you about what's happening a few hours away. Senator Louise Lucas's home, our office rather, was raided by the FBI. At this point, do you stand by the senator or are you concerned? Because our sources are telling us this is about bribery and corruption.
Well, certainly I am aware of the law enforcement action that occurred in Portsmouth, and I am awaiting more details to become public before weighing in with any strong public comment. And as more information becomes available, I look forward to making further comment.
Okay, that's not good for the governor. Number one, across the country, she's being linked as a very powerful ally of someone who's under investigation for corruption and bribery and fraud. That's not a good look for a standing governor. But more importantly, within the Commonwealth of Virginia, Spanberger, who's taken every shot she can to attack the president. She's doing this because of the president. She's doing that against the president. She's standing up. She delivered the response to the State of the Union to push back against Donald Trump. It's in her playbook. She's got it right there in her hip pocket. She can turn around and join all the rest of the Democrats and blaming Donald Trump for this going on with Louise Lucas, but she didn't. So what's going on right here? Well, when we talked to the CIA case officer last week, he said, I can't tell whether this is tradecraft or anything else, but watch the receipts. And we pointed this out to you on numerous occasions. Abigail Spanberger will say one thing, do another, and lead from the sideline. And instead of jumping in front of this and either saying, absolutely, we're law and order, we believe in the rule of law, FBI, go do your job, and we hope and pray that we find out what's really going on, or you get along with the rest of the Democratic machine and go, let's circle the wagons. Donald Trump's an evil person. Lawfare. They're coming after her because she stood up to him for redistricting, and she said she was going to take care of this. She got the redistricting taken care of, and this is nothing but a political ploy. That's what Don Scott said. That's what Jay Jones said. That's what the rest of the powerful Democrats have said. And what's Abigail Spanberger say? Nothing. That's, again, where she leads from the sideline and doesn't get in front of these things. When people are looking for leadership, they're looking to her, and she showed time and time again in her short time in office that's not what we're going to get. She's not going to lead from the beginning. But here's where the story gets very complicated for her. The Democratic Party is going to circle the wagons. Louise Lucas is a very powerful member of that party, and she's going to expect, and the Democratic machine is going to expect everybody else to get in line to circle the wagons. They're going to claim political persecution and Trump retaliation. Suddenly, it's, well, wait a minute. As the governor, I have to wait for the facts. Nobody else is saying that, only her. Now she's out there on her own, again, leading from the sideline. The Hampton Roads Democrats are going to expect nothing but loyalty when one of their own is under fire, and that silence is going to cost Abigail Spanberger in the future. You can only survive in the middle, and that's what she's doing. She kind of leads on the sidelines, or she stands in the middle. I'm not going to take a stance here, not going to take a stance there. When she was in Congress, You could do that. You're one of hundreds of people over there. They're not all looking at you. You're not in the spotlight. But when you're the governor, I think we're discovering that means the spotlight finds you. If you're sitting over the Rayburn office, or you're sitting over in the halls of Congress, there's hundreds of Congress people that the cameras will follow. But if you're sitting there in the governor's mansion, there's only one camera and it's pointing at you. You're the solo act that everybody's watching. And if you stand there and you say, well, I don't know, I'm not going to lead, I'm going to stand in the middle, you're going to get run over by your party or the other. Because if you keep avoiding the leadership, that vacuum is going to be filled by someone else. In Congress, the governor can blend into the crowd. As a governor, she's got to lead. And she's not leading right now her Democratic Party. And the Hampton Roads folks see it, and they're going to make her pay for it later because they need loyalty right now more than anything else. And she's not getting in line. And the people are saying that she's not leading right now through these crises, whether it's the budget or whether it's what's going on with gerrymandering, what's going on right now with the case against in the investigation of Louise Lucas. So for the governor, again, that modus operandi of leading from the middle or standing on the sideline is resonating in her silence is probably louder than anyone else's circling the wagons. You want to comment? 833-804-1140. 833-804-1140. Today's program brought to you in part by Luster by Adolf.